Sir, during February 1990, there was an air crash in Bangalore airport. A320 was the machine which was, a flight which was damaged in the incident. You were the advocate representing in the judicial probe which took place here. Can you speak about, sir?
See, what happened was, it was an Air India flight from Mumbai to Bangalore. There were about 120 passengers in it. The plane was an Airbus. The engines which were manning the plane was an engine manufactured by International Aero Engines, which is a consortium of Pratt & Whitney, Rolls-Royce, a Japanese firm, and Fiat. When it landed in Bangalore, what happened was, when it was about to land in Bangalore, a plane, when it lands, it must have a certain speed. The speed that was required was 130 knots. Unfortunately, the pilots did not notice it. It had gone down to 103 knots. So the plane, instead of landing on HAL airport, it landed in the same alignment on the golf course, 6 tee box in the golf course, Karnataka Golf Association golf course. They noticed, when it was about to land, they noticed it, they put the throttle on, it takes 7 seconds to rev up fully. So it took off. There was a bund. The engines are at the, below the wings. The engines hit the bund. The engines fell off. Fuel is there in the wings. Plane caught fire. It landed 200 meters behind the HAL airport in alignment with the runway. People died of asphyxiation because of the fire, including the pilots.
There were some survivors also.
Pardon?
There were some survivors also.
Yes, there were some survivors who were sitting at the back.
Yes.
Then what happened was, whenever there's an air crash, a court of inquiry is appointed. Justice Shiv Shankar Bhatt, the sitting judge of our High Court, was appointed as the chairperson. There were 2 assessors.
Yes.
I had represented the International Aero Engines, which is the engine manufacturer. For about 6 months, I had to study about plane, how it flies, what is an aileron, what is a black box, what is the cockpit voice recorder. All this entailed a lot of study. In fact, very ironically,
something you do not know in your doing in your day-to-day court
correct,
practice.
Absolutely. So we had to sit with experts, again, try to understand, read, from various books,
Engineering books.
all that, cross-examine, because there were witnesses. Air India was represented by Vahanavati, who later became the Attorney General of India. Then there was Airbus, which was represented by another council. I represented the engine manufacturer, and there was also the Pilots Association. So we had to cross-examine witnesses. Ultimately, I was able to prove that there was no, everybody was, blaming the other for the air crash. Ultimately, I was able to prove that it was not due to the engine defect, it was only because of the pilot error that this air crash occurred. And ironically, when the plane started, there's a cockpit voice recorder. It records whatever happens in the air, inside the cockpit. We went to no, not black box. Black box is the parameters of the various parameters of the plane, how it flies and all that. Cockpit voice recorder records the voice. The pilots will be speaking.
Their conversation.
Yes. To the ATC, all that. And very significant, we had to go to NAL airport, laboratory to listen to it. And very ironically, when they started from Bombay, it started with the song, Hey Sara Sara, whatever will be, will be. Future is not ours to see, Hey Sara Sara. Look at the irony. And they come and crash here, 90 people die.
So what is the role of a senior advocate in mentoring junior advocate?
Every junior looks towards the seniors. Even I, when I was young in the bar, I would look at the seniors. The way they present their cases, the way they behave, the way they conduct the cases, all of which has a direct impact on the junior members of the bar. After all, they are the future of the bar, not the seniors. So, juniors look towards them. By their own conduct, seniors will have to, be a role model. One. Secondly, wherever it is possible, I have done this. When I find even my opponent, youngster, who comes, argues well, he may lose. I go and pat his back. that will, stand in good stead, because he will think that yes, I have done well, but I have to now improve. Many a times, you may not be in the case at all. You find a lawyer, young lawyer, and arguing well. I go and pat him. It inspires them to do better. I remember when, I started my career in the initial stage, when a senior came and told me, any senior, oh, you have done well, doesn't matter even if you have lost. It thrilled me and made me work harder. So that is what, we'll have to do. By your own conduct. Seniors, after all, juniors emulate you. So your conduct inside and outside the court must be value-based.
So you have conducted many important cases for the state also you have conducted. Can you say something about those cases, sir? At least few of them. I know there are plenty of them.
I have handled, Krishna water dispute, where, the dispute was a water dispute between the three states of Andhra, Karnataka and Maharashtra. I have handled the border dispute cases, where, there is a dispute between Karnataka, Maharashtra. All of them, are, Belgaum border.
Yes.
Not only border, in fact, nearly a third of Karnataka's prime land will go to Maharashtra. So I have handled that also in the Supreme Court. I have been, at the time, when, by the time I became the AG first time, Kaveri tribunal dispute had been resolved. So we had to prepare the petition for the SLP before the Supreme Court. And many constitutional matters also I had to deal with on behalf of the state.
Some IPR related matters also you have dealt.
IPR, may not be on behalf of the state.
Not because state. Yeah.
IPR, yes, because it's the in thing today. And I have dealt with virtually everything. Designs Act, the Patents Act, the Trademarks Act, Copyright Act. I have dealt with everything. Thanks to the faith and trust that the clientele had, or the instructing councils. Many outsiders come, outside the council come and brief me. So that's why I said it is intellectually most stimulating of the professions.
Courtroom etiquette. What is your say on that, sir? You are a model for that. Therefore, we are asking.
See, what happens is, initially, when you come to the bar, you lose your cool. You start shouting at the judges. But the resultant position would be, you become a hero, the client becomes a zero. That shouldn't happen. Over the years, after burning my own fingers, I have learned that you must always be, conduct yourself in such a manner that your attempt should be to make the client a hero. Many a times, judges, lose their cool. If you lose the cool yourself, then it affects the client. So you will have to be a little more apologetic, try to cajole a judge. All this is needed, one. Secondly, as I said, youngsters always look at you. You are the role model for them. Maybe, not for all of them, but at least a few of them. If you behave yourself well in the court, then they'll also emulate it. On the contrary, if you are, rough, if you are, gruff, and if you start shouting, and they'll think that, that's the way to argue. That shouldn't happen. Ultimately, court ethics, court etiquettes, court manners must be adopted, one. Secondly, after all, a judge, what does he do? The divinity, so after all, dispensation of justice is a divine virtue. So here is a person who sits in that chair. You must respect him. And therefore, the court etiquettes are absolutely essential.
So what you're saying is, a lawyer should remember that he's a representative of the client and keep his interest in mind and then submit to the court.
Definitely. At the same time, he must also remember that he's an officer of the court. And therefore, he must be candid. If, he finds that, he shouldn't hide things from the court. He must put his client's case at its highest, but at the same time, he must ensure that, he should not forget that he is an officer of the court.
So what is your favorite pastime, sir, of late?
As a lawyer, The favorite pastime is sleep, because you are sleep deprived. That is one. Secondly, during vacations and all that, I'd like to go out, out of Bangalore, see the world. Well, I've gone around the world. So at this juncture, I may not be that interested in going around the world.
Do you get time to spend with your granddaughters?
Saturday evening is meant for them, and vacations, yes. But otherwise, in a busy professional's life of a lawyer, it's examination every day. So during the examination, what do? We are busy, studying and studying and studying. So is the life of a lawyer. So you have, time is one thing that is at a discount, and but that's the profession. Take for example a neurosurgeon. He operates, for 12 continuous hours. Imagine the plight of that person. Every profession has its own ups and downs. In fact, when Narayan Murthy, chairman of Infosys, retired, he said, my office was my home for 16 hours a day. So these are things, which are part of the professional hazards.
What are the important skill sets that one needs to develop, sir?
One is hard work. First and foremost is hard work. Because that's the panacea for every thing that is amiss in you. Because you may not be that intellectually bright. You may not have the ability to be articulate enough like, say, Palkiwala. But then when you put in hard work, all that, will be taken care of. So hard work is one. Second, try to gather as much knowledge as possible. When a client comes, a litigation arises, there is a case, try and read as much as possible pertaining to that subject. You are better off. And when you study, and when you are in a position to answer the questions of the judge, he'll eat out of your hands. Third, be honest in your approach to the clientele. If he does not have a case, please tell him that he does not have a case. In spite of it, if he says no, fight, that's a different thing. So these are and what is the other skill set? Technological innovation. When I started, as I said earlier, when I started my practice, we were writing it in a book, the case law and all that, important case law. Thereafter, I started inputting into my digital diary the palm top. In the last 45 years, I've been using this palm top. There are more than 25,000 cases. When I go to the court, when a judge asks me something, I'm instantaneously able to take out some case law and give it to him. And that is because of the technological innovation. So be tech savvy. That will also help in your career.
Sir, how to keep the motivation up all the time? Sometimes we may feel frustrated after a decision has come. Sometimes we get elated also. So how to keep that going?
One thing, that a lawyer must always remember is that he is not the judge. There is a judge. We think that we have the best of the cases, looking at it from one angle. Now look at a horse. It has 4 legs. You look at it from one angle, you will find only 3 legs. And we will be arguing vehemently that the horse has only 3 legs. Judge looks at it from all angles. Therefore, if you lose, there is always an appeal provided. Second, you must have equanimity. in this profession. Say for example, a surgeon, he operates, exercises his skills in the best diligent manner. In spite of it, the patient dies. How does he feel? Ultimately,
Not to take it personal.
That's right. He must, ensure that he has to put his client's case at its highest and leave it to the judges for the decision.
ಸರ್, ಸಮಾಜಕ್ಕೆ ತಾವು ಏನು ಸಂದೇಶ ಕೊಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತೀರಾ? ಇಷ್ಟು ವರ್ಷಗಳ 50 ವರ್ಷಗಳ ಸುದೀರ್ಘ ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀರಿ ತಾವು, ಹಲವಾರು ಕಕ್ಷಿದಾರರನ್ನು ನೋಡಿದ್ದೀರಿ, ಹಲವಾರು ಸರ್ಕಾರಗಳನ್ನು ನೋಡಿದ್ದೀರಿ, ಸರ್ಕಾರದ ಪರವಾದ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀರಿ. ಈ ಒಂದು ಸಮಾಜಕ್ಕೆ ತಾವು ಏನು ಹೇಳೋಕ್ಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತೀರಿ?
ಇದು ಯಾವ ಸಮಾಜಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂತ, ವಕೀಲರ ಸಮಾಜಕ್ಕೋ ಅಥವಾ ಇಡೀ ಸಮಾಜಕ್ಕೋ ಅಂತ. ವಕೀಲರ ಸಮಾಜಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳೋದಾದರೆ, ಕ್ಲೈಂಟು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಪೇ ಮಾಸ್ಟರು. ಎರಡನೇದಾಗಿ, ಕ್ಲೈಂಟು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ ಬರೋದು, ಅವನಿಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲೂ ಸೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ, ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾನೆ. ಅದನ್ನು ಮನಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿಟ್ಟು ಕ್ಲೈಂಟನ್ನು, ಅವರ ಕೇಸನ್ನು ಪುಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಅಟ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಹೈಯೆಸ್ಟ್. ಪುಟ್ ಯುವರ್ ಹೋಲ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಸೋಲ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ದಟ್ ಕೇಸ್ ದಟ್ ಹೀ ಗಿವ್ಸ್ ಯು. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಅವನ ಜೀವನವನ್ನು, ಅವನ ಇಡೀ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟಿಯನ್ನು ತಮ್ಮ ಕೈಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಹೋಗಿರ್ತಾನೆ. ಟ್ರಸ್ಟ್, ಫೇತ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಕಾನ್ಫಿಡೆನ್ಸ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ನೀವು ಆ್ಯಸ್ ಲಾಯರ್ ಮಸ್ಟ್ ಪುಟ್ ದ ಕ್ಲೈಂಟ್ಸ್ ಕೇಸ್ ಎಟ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಹೈಯೆಸ್ಟ್. ಒಂದು 10 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ತೊಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ 100 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನು ನಾವು ಕೊಡಬೇಕಾದದ್ದು ನಮ್ಮ ಕರ್ತವ್ಯ, ನಮ್ಮ ಧರ್ಮ. 100 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ತೊಗೊಂಡು 10 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಕೊಡುವಂಥದ್ದು ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದು. ಇದು ಒಂದನೇದಾಗಿ. ಎರಡನೇದಾಗಿ, ಸಮಾಜಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳೋದಾದರೆ, ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಆ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮನ್ನು ನಾವು ಇಂಪ್ರೂವ್ ಮಾಡೋಣ, ನಾವು ಆನೆಸ್ಟ್ ಇಂಟೆಗ್ರಿಟಿಯನ್ನು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡೋಣ ನಮ್ಮ ಸಮಾಜದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಬಯಸ್ತೀನಿ ನಾನು.
ಸರ್, ನಿಮಗೆ ಬಹಳ ಆತ್ಮಸಂತೋಷ ಕೊಟ್ಟಂಥ ಒಂದು ಯಾವುದೋ ಪ್ರಕರಣ ಅಥವಾ ಘಟನೆ?
ನೋಡಿ, ಒಂದು 1995 ಆ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಒಬ್ಬರು ಕ್ಲೈಂಟ್ ಬಂದರು. ಬೆಳಿಗ್ಗೆ 9:30 ಬಂದರು. ನನ್ನ ಮಗಳ ಮದುವೆ ಇದೆ, ಸಾಯಂಕಾಲ ಆ ಮದುವೆ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಲ್ಯಾಣ ಮಂಟಪಗಳನ್ನು ಈ ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಯವರ 100ನೇ ದಿವಸದ ಹಬ್ಬಕ್ಕೆ ರಿಕ್ವಿಸಿಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದನ್ನು ಈ ನಮ್ಮ ಕಲ್ಯಾಣ ಮಂಟಪವನ್ನು ಅವ್ರು ತೊಗೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ನನಗೆ ಮದುವೆ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗ್ತಾಯಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು. ಆವಾಗ ಏನಾಯಿತು, ಬೆಳಿಗ್ಗೆ 9:30 ಬಂದವರನ್ನು ನಾನು ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಪಿಟಿಷನ್ ರೆಡಿ ಮಾಡಿದೆ. ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟು 10:00 ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಶುರುವಾಗುತ್ತೆ. 11 ಗಂಟೆ ನಂದು ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಮುಗಿದೆಲ್ಲ ಟೈಪ್ ಆಗಿ ಅದನ್ನು ಪಿಟಿಷನಲ್ಲಿ ರೆಡಿ ಮಾಡಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೋಗುವಾಗ 11 ಗಂಟೆ ಆಯಿತು. ಜಸ್ಟಿಸ್ ರಾಜೇಂದ್ರ ಬಾಬು ಅವರು ಕೂತಿದ್ರು ಜಡ್ಜಾಗಿ. ನಿಮಗೆ 10:00 ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಈ ಥರ ಇದೆ ಸ್ವಾಮಿ, ತೊಗೋಬೇಕು ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟ್ಲಿ ಅಂತೇಳಿ. 11 ಗಂಟೆಗೆ ಆವಾಗ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಶುರುವಾಗಿ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ, ಮಾತಾಡೋ ಹಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮುಂದೆ ಹೋಗಿ ನಿಂತೆ, ಏನು ಮಾಡಲಿಲ್ಲ. ನಿಶ್ಶಬ್ದವಾಗಿ 11ರಿಂದ 11:30 ತನಕ ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ನಿಂತಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಜಡ್ಜರು ನೋಡಿದ್ವಿ, ಯಾಕೋ ನಿಂತಿದ್ದಾರಲ್ಲ, ಏನಾಗಿದೆ, ನೀವು ಯಾಕೆ ನಿಂತಿದ್ದೀರಿ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳೋದು. ಸ್ವಾಮಿ, ಹೀಗಾಗೋಗಿದೆ. ಆಲ್ ರೈಟ್, ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟ್ಲಿ ಗೆಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆಫೀಸಿಗೆ ಹೇಳಿ ಈಗಲೇ ತರಿಸಿ ಅದನ್ನು ಅಂದರು. ತರಿಸ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಒಂದು ಇಂಟ್ರಿಮ್ ಆರ್ಡರ್ನ ಕೊಟ್ಟರು. ಆ ಕಲ್ಯಾಣ ಮಂಟಪವನ್ನು ರಿಕ್ವಿಸಿಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದನ್ನು ಸ್ಟೇ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇನೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ಸಾಯಂಕಾಲ ಬಂದ ನಮ್ಮ ಕ್ಲೈಂಟು ಅವರ ಮಗಳ ಮದುವೆಯನ್ನು ನಿರ್ವಿಘ್ನವಾಗಿ ನಡೆಸಿದರು. ಆ ಸಂತೋಷ, ಆ ಸಂಭ್ರಮ, ಅಂಥ ಆಹ್ಲಾದ ನಿಮಗೆ ಬೇರೆ ಕೇಸ್ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿಕ್ಕೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತಂದರೆ, ಆ ಕಣ್ಣೀರು, ತಂದೆಯ ಕಣ್ಣೀರನ್ನು ಬೆಳಿಗ್ಗೆ ನೋಡಿದೆ, ಮಧ್ಯಾಹ್ನ ಆ ಕಣ್ಣೀರನ್ನು ಒರೆಸಿ ಅವರಿಗೊಂದು ಸಂತೋಷನೋ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಅವರ ಕಾರ್ಯವನ್ನು ನಡೆಸಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ನಾನು ಹೊಣೆಯಾದೆ ಅನ್ನುವಾಗ ನಿಜವಾಗ್ಲೂ ನನಗೆ ಒಂದು ಆಹ್ಲಾದವಾಯಿತು.
ತಾವು ದೇವರನ್ನು ನಂಬ್ತೀರಾ ಸರ್?
ನಾನು ಒಂದು ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಎಗ್ನಾಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಅಂತೇಳಿ. ದೇವರಿದ್ದಾನೋ ಇಲ್ವೋ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ನಾನು ಟೆಂಪಲ್ಗೂ ಹೋಗ್ತೀನಿ, ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ, ಬೇಕಾದರೆ ಚರ್ಚ್ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೂ ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಹೋಗ್ತೀನಿ. ನನಗೆ ಅದು ಯಾವುದು ವಿಘ್ನ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ ಹೋಗ್ತೀನಿ. ಅಲ್ಟಿಮೇಟ್ಲಿ ನನಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ದೇವರಿದ್ದಾನೋ ಇಲ್ವೋ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ಆದರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ನಡೆ ನುಡಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ದೇವರಿದ್ದಾನೆ, ನಮ್ಮ ಕರ್ತವ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ದೇವರಿದ್ದಾನೆ. ಅದನ್ನು ನಾವು ಮನಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ನಡ್ಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಬೇಕು. ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರು ಬರ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ, ಕ್ಲೈಂಟ್ ಆಗಲಿ ಯಾರಾಗಲಿ, ಅವನಲ್ಲೂ ದೇವರಿದ್ದಾನೆ. ಅದನ್ನು ನಾವು ನೆನಪಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ನಡ್ಸ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ನಮ್ಮ ನಡತೆಯನ್ನು ನಾವು ಇರಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ನನ್ನ ಅಭಿಪ್ರಾಯ. ಅದರ ಥರ ನಾನು ನಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ವರ್ಕ್ ಈಸ್ ವರ್ಷಿಪ್ ಅಂತಲೂ ಇದೆ. ಅದು ಮಾತ್ರ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಸಿ in your own conduct, in your own, the way you conduct yourself with others. To me, that is God. Your conscience is God. Your own conduct is, the way you conduct yourself is worship. And you must see God in everybody. After all, who has created, we don't know who has created us. I've always said this. Supposing I were to be born, today I am in this fortuitous circumstance. Why? Because I was born to my parents. They educated me. They looked after me, made me what I am. Had I been born to a slum dweller, where would I have been? So see God in every human being. See if you can help him. If it is possible to help him, please do so. That's been my motto, and that's how I have believed that I should conduct myself.
Sir, we are almost come to the end of the cross-examination. Sir, you have completed 50 successful years in the profession. If you look back at your journey, what do you feel, sir?
I feel a sense of satisfaction because I have been able to help lakhs of people, lakhs of litigants in this by virtue of the professional career that I have taken to. I have been able to get succor for innumerable and thousands and lakhs of people. Therefore, that gives you immense satisfaction. And this profession also helps you intellectually, gives you an intellectual stimulation. You deal with diverse subjects. When I started the career initially, IPR, the other subjects like tax and all that were extremely, they were not there at all in Bangalore at least. Now you have diverse subjects, and therefore you deal with diverse subjects, and therefore it's a everyday study for you, and therefore it keeps you intellectually stimulated.
Sir, should a lawyer retire from profession?
Depends on him. There are lawyers who have retired and then taken to social service. There are lawyers who have retired and done nothing about it and sat at home. It depends on one individual. According to me, I would like to continue in the profession as long as it is possible, so that I can help as many people as possible.
Many thanks to you, sir. You have spared such a long time for us, and in fact you have handled so many cases, and we got an opportunity to cross-examine you. Of course, that's only a title, but nevertheless we had wonderful opportunity to talk with you, discuss with you in detail. Yes, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. I must only thank you because ultimately, if whatever I have been, if it can inspire youngsters, I'd be most thrilled. That's all that I can say. After all, 50 years is not a small quantum of time that one has spent in this profession. And if my own conduct, the way I have conducted myself, if it can inspire youngsters to achieve greater heights than me, I'd be the most thrilled person.
On behalf of Vakeela Vaahini, we thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.